Hello, everybody. I am the CEO of iArcade, and you are watching the best show in the world, Retro Bus. Let's go.
This episode is sponsored in part by PTZ Optics. Why need a cameraman when you can just do it yourself? Visit ptzoptics.com for more information.
It's Friday, so it's time for the Retro Buzz. I know we've been gone for such a long time, but, we're back. We had a lot of things going on, a lot of remote productions I've been doing. I was telling the guys that I've been doing a lot of streaming as of lately. And this guy has been doing a lot of tanning, as you can see. He has been up to no good, as always.
I heard there's a thing called Outdoors, and we weren't doing a show for a couple weeks. I said, let me see what this thing Outdoors is all about.
Well,
right.
You mistaken Doug's, title for today's show, calling it leaks. You weren't supposed to go out and look for leaks or take a leak outside.
Well, where else do you take a leak?
Well, not there, but at least we have the man. He's actually sitting in the light this week. He's not dark.
Yeah. No Batcave this week.
No
I was feeling less somber, less broody. I figured I'd turn the lights on at least.
He's excited with Mr. Doug Smith, and then Glenn's just enjoying the sunshine. Doug's women over there, and we're scorching up here.
I'm jealous. Like I said, Glenn's in the sunshine. I haven't seen the sun in 7 days. It's just rain, more rain. So yeah, enjoy it, Glenn.
It's been beautiful here. It's been absolutely gorgeous, like 75, 76 degrees, beautiful sun. I sorry, Doug. It's really nice here.
So I want to start off by saying I did not look at anybody's. I know there's a lot of videos out there people have been doing with these leaks from Arcade 1-Up. Okay, I haven't looked at any of them. I know Doug's put out some information on Instagram and Twitter. I've kind of shied away from it until he provided me for today with some of this information. So you're going to kind of get my reaction for the first time kind of seeing some of this stuff. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but let's talk a little bit before we get into those leaks. Let's talk about, let's go into the AtGames. So as you guys know, AtGames didn't release any firmware yesterday, but they did release it today. And for the actual arcade, there has been just a few things, minor improvements to the UI. That's not really anything that I think a lot of people were really looking for. It was in the pinball firmware. And the pinball firmware, I know, Doug, you were really excited about this, was the 8-way joystick is now enabled for the control deck.
Mm-hmm. Control deck was previously not recognizing diagonal movements, which, depending on the game you're playing, is or isn't an issue, but is definitely something that was noticeable. So that was a quick resolution, which I knew it would be. I think it was just probably a minor oversight when it got initialized that way.
And before I get into the next fix, Shotgun Son says, I hope Haywood won't be doing any hot tub stream. We're not doing any hot tub streams. I promise you
get them views, baby.
Not going to do it.
My hot tub's broken. It's been broken for years. If it was working, I would be in there right now, Nolan Bushnell style, 70s Atari.
I was just going to say, well, we'd have Glenn do it. I personally, I'm not going to do that. The other update that they had announced or put forward in this update is flipper input response time has been restored back to the original setting. The frame skipping fix has been released since 5.33 and it stays. So basically they adjusted it to, what did I say, it was 33 milliseconds they went back
right.
to, and they're going to leave it at that. And then there were some Legends Mail optimizations. But those were the three main highlights. So if you guys were waiting for the flipper lag fix, you want to download this update, 533. It should be live now. If it's not, it'll be live here shortly. That was one of the big things. They've got some different competitions and different things that are going on, so you definitely want to check that out. Glenn, what did iArcade do this week?
They released a couple new games. One of the games that I do enjoy is Burger Time, so I'm giving that a bit of a try. I may do a video on that over the weekend. They're adding more games. Like a few Data East games as well will be coming to the iArcade. And I find myself playing it more and more. I do. I'm still enjoying R-Type, although it's really also ticking me off. I keep getting killed on the on that fourth stage, but I'm really enjoying that.
It's a rough game.
It is. It's. I go back, but it's brutal. But it looks so nice on the iArcade, so I'm playing that quite a bit on there.
Well, I know the one game I'm looking forward to is one. Well, there's a bunch of them, but the Bad Dudes, that game coming out. We played that in the arcade. That's going to be coming out. That's probably in a couple weeks. We're still waiting for WrestleFest, or
yes,
Retromania. We're still waiting for that. That's not landed yet. And
that
Toe Jam and Earl.
That will be a DLC game I actually download. I don't download those games. I will download that DLC.
Yeah, because you don't have a choice at this moment.
Right.
Well, that's also true. But besides that,
so that's something else that we wanted to pay some homage. John and his crew, they've been really pushing getting these games out as options for people. It's all about the experience, right?
Over 200 titles now, I think. I think they've officially crossed the 200 titles mark and still growing. So impressive stuff.
And the cabinet, different cabinet art that's available on there. They're all gorgeous.
Yes.
I really like the that Retromania. God, it's killing me. I can't get it from right now. It's a beautiful cabinet.
It's coming. It's coming.
Mm-hmm.
But there's Arcade 1UP. E3 is right around the corner. I was talking with Doug earlier. He said it was like the second week of June. It's supposed to be, coming out. And all this week, I've seen content creators putting out YouTube videos and posts and leaks and leaks and leaks. And I've done everything I could to stay away from it. Well, the first leak, if you will, that I was given by Doug, I looked at it and I'm like, where the heck is Arcade 1UP going with this marketing?
To the moon.
Who's in charge? It can't be David McIntosh. I mean, that's. Did you guys? Here, I got to put that back up because I don't know if everybody saw that. Who? Arcade 1UP Junior? What is this nonsense? What is this?
I got to say, when I did see that, two things came into my mind actually simultaneously. So very parallel, not serial. One was I was a little disappointed. It seems like they were taking a step backward. I mean, they've been building. They did start off that way. They did start off with the grandparents and the kid, a kid's toy of the year. But they kind of been building themselves up to more and more expensive machines, adding more higher end components, newer, better machines. So I was like a little disappointed. I'm like, you're taking the brand the wrong way. But then I started thinking about it in parallel. And I'm realizing that, this is really what Arcade 1UP was coming to initially, was to bring young kids into these classic games, the parents kind of joining them with it. And this may actually be a smarter move, and making the original Arcade 1UPs that we're playing now more the adult-oriented, because they are getting a little more pricier, and making something like this for the kids that are younger. So initial thought was like, oh, no, this is not the right thing to do. But in hindsight, and you think about it more, it might be a really smart marketing move for them to have like a preschool version of their machines, and then, the actual ones that they're starting to come with $300, $400, $500 on these machines. So I'm not sure what Steven and Doug think about it, but again, initial thought was, mistake. But in starting thinking about it,
Go ahead.
Might not be a bad choice for them.
Go ahead, Doug. I'm still processing this.
That is a funny comment. Now, I mean, obviously, I'm not the core demographic for this. I don't have kids, so my opinion on the matter is a moot point to begin with, because again, like I said, I don't have kids. I'm not buying or looking to buy something like this for my kids. It's interesting to say the least. That's really all I can say. Like, only time will tell us, is this successful? Obviously, they're going to take a chance. They're trying to diversify the portfolio, so to speak, and get into new areas with consumers. So this is definitely an area that will give them an opportunity to reach a lower age demographic or appeal to a younger age demographic. But then again, at the end of the day, it's still the the parental figures that'll be buying this. It's the parents that have the young kids that are wanting to indoctrinate those children into the video games that they grew up in knowing and loving. It's something a lot of parents do, whether it be toys, action figures, video games. They try to expose their children to the things they know and love, not necessarily brainwashing them by any means, but they do try to, expose them to the things. And sometimes it takes, and sometimes in Glenn's case, it doesn't take,
I agree with the first part of what Brad O'Connell says here. He says, Arcade 1-Up done lost their minds. If you're an adult, just go get an iArcade or Knack Games and be done with it. I like all three. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not gonna...
that's the thing, though. Like, this isn't obviously made for the adults. This is for the kids. So this is...
But if you look at it, the size of it is geared toward, like, 1, 2-year-olds.
I'm 5'8". I'm 5'8", and you can see in that photograph. That's that's pretty big.
Well, with the
Look
exception
how small
of Glenn,
Glenn's hands are in that picture. I mean,
with the exception of Glenn,
I didn't want to be mean and poke fun, but Glenn, you might have an issue with your pituitary gland, some sort of developmental issues going on. Maybe your thyroid needs some attention, because your growth spurts are all over the chart here.
So I go ahead.
Okay,
go ahead.
No,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say real quick that I owe P-Dubs a drink. I will buy P-Dubs a drink. Spit it out.
No, when I saw this, my first inkling was, why didn't you just make a base for the countercade and say, use this for the little kids? But then I realized, I was like, okay, plastic, wood's gonna hurt the kid if it falls over. But I think about when my kids were that age, they didn't want to play something like that. Like I get where they're going with, like, the Fisher-Price houses and McDonald's and things like that, but I just can't see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong.
Think of it this way, real quick. I said that My Girl doll, right? My Girl doll. They come out with a pinball machine,
My
a small
American
arcade
doll,
machine.
or American Girl doll.
Right.
Yeah.
People are buying it. I mean, that was literally a little girl's toy, pinball machine and an arcade machine. Not that I bought one. I'm not admitting if I did or didn't, but people have bought them. So, it's again, I said when I first saw it, I was shocked. I was like, no, you're taking the stuff in the wrong direction. But on the other side of the coin, I want you to remember that very first picture we got from Arcade 1-Up. When they first were announced, it was grandparents and 2 grandchildren, young grandchildren. That was the original concept of these machines. So actually going back to the roots on one side of the coin, and also trying to make more premium. I still have a little ways to go, I still think, but more premium on the other side of the coin.
I can't wait to hear you guys justify this next one, okay? Because I'm not saying they're justifying it. I'm being facetious, but this monstrosity, super thin, ugly looking, trying to pay homage to the original.
No, it looks horrible. It looks horrible. I actually thought that was a fake one. I thought that was like someone else.
It almost looks like P-Dubs put it together in his garage. That's what it looks like. It looks like somebody that had no instructions. They just put it together. I'm sorry. I mean, it looks bad. It doesn't even pay homage.
Obviously, well, it does. I mean, you can hold it up side by side to a real big blue cabinet, and you can see the inspiration. Is it 100% accurate? Absolutely not. Does the control panel, not have the extrusion that the original one did? No. But for all intents and purposes, the finer detail, or the major details, shall I say, not the finer details, the major details, they hit all those checkpoints.
Doug, it looks like the things that were blown up on 9/11.
I mean, I'm not saying it's for me, and it's obviously not going to be for everybody, but it does do a decent job of accurately portraying what the Big Blue Machine does. I wasn't a fan of the Big Blue Machine, the original one. I've always liked this standard, just classic World Warrior, Street Fighter 2, the one they tried to replicate with the Legacy, even though they did the wrong control panel graphic that I'm still upset about.
But you're right, that does look nice.
But for other people, this is something different. A lot of people have, been saying, hey, please get away from the cookie cutter shark fin design. This does that. Does this do it too much? That's arguable, and that's debatable, and that's up to the end user and the consumer to decide.
So we just set a trend here. We're going to hashtag this Arcade 1-Up 9/11 cab. There you go. Start
get still probably too soon on that one. I don't know about
get that trending on Twitter. Twitter.
I'm with Steven on this on that one. I'm not a fan of that design at all. I don't like it.
Pitbull in the chat room. I didn't pull up his comment. It came back. He says he disagrees. He has a big blue cabinet. He doesn't think it does it justice. And again, this could be a rendition, right? Let's just
I mean, it's a digital mock-up.
To be fair,
all these quote unquote leaks or digital mock-ups. Time will tell. Will the end product get changed, revised, look different, look the same? We don't know until we see it.
Yeah, and I didn't mean any disrespect with the 9/11 thing, but it does look like one of the twin towers. That was kind of my verbiage on that. Anyways, let's move along here to this. I'm so over these overpriced stools, but this actually looks cool. I'll give it that. It looks cool.
Absolutely. I mean, it'll be $79.99 MSRP like all the other stools are. But a lot of these stools have been very hit and miss design-wise. Obviously, not everybody needs one, but if you're buying the Simpsons cabin, this indeed does come with a stool. I think they did a good job with the design. I think that's a great-looking donut color scheme and everything, and I would probably pay too much money to buy an $80 Simpsons stool from Arcade1Up just because I like the design of that so much.
If you like the Simpsons, Glenn, what do you think about Michael B's comment here? He says about they're fakes. They don't have the decal on the front. He's right. They started making all their cabinets now with the coin decal door.
That's the thing though. Like, people don't understand these digital mock-ups. There's no date on them. Right. Like, these could be
very
old.
Yeah, true.
So I mean, again, until we see the actual physical products, we see an actual sample, just take everything with a grain of salt, because nothing is written in stone, nothing is on a retail shelf until you see something physically unveiled. Just it is what it is. It's just speculation and us talking about what we can see.
Take it with a donut.
As my Lord and Savior Overlord DVD always says, take it with a grain of salt.
Or take it with a donut.
Or donut, donut.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's talk about this receipt, or this so-called. It looks like a receipt. It's not a receipt. It's a spreadsheet of some sort, right? With a circled
so
$3.99.
This popped out earlier in the year, and this is when people finally discovered, hey, the legacy cabinets are real. This is going to be the price point and everything, and that's what everybody was focusing on. That right there where it was circled. If you had a keen eye, you would look down on the rest of the receipt, and it's not actually a receipt. This is a UPC listing and a retail establishment. If I was a betting man, I would say Best Buy, just because that's kind of what it looks like to me. But if you go down, we see the junior listing. So we got like a Batman Junior, $179.99, Disney Princess Junior. So that was part of some UPC coded leaks that discovered themselves on the internet this week as well. Batman Junior was noticeably missing from what has been put out there. Doesn't mean they're making one, doesn't mean they're not making one. It just isn't out there. But this kind of matches up with the exact same price point, and this kind of was our first foray or heads up that they were going to work to be making those Arcade1Up Junior machines that Glenn's face is so eloquently plastered on in the promo images.
That's right. I want to know how you managed that.
Scott and I are good friends.
That's how you're going to defend yourself.
That's the thing. Like, I've been campaigning since day one to get my face on the box to replace those those cookie cutter Photoshop guys they had on all those Gen 1 and Gen 2 machines. And lo and behold, here comes Glenn, stealing my thunder, and he's now the spokesman for Arcade1Up Junior.
I am. It's about the face, man. Sorry, Doug. You need this on those.
Yeah.
So for this next leak, I have to say, I am not a huge Tron fan, but we know Glenn is. I would buy this cabinet. It looks awesome.
Yep.
I mean, hopefully it glows.
This is something, like I said, that they have to do. If they're going to make the Fisher Price type of machines for the kids, the more expensive ones have to more closely match the look of the machine. And I think personally, again, like Doug would say, it's a perfect no, but it's a really nice rendition. If this is how it's going to be kind of like, design of that Tron cabinet, the joystick, if that's what they're using, it looks pretty good. The color looks very, very good on it. I see the spinner on there. Now, I did notice on the bottom it says Tron and Tron, Disc of Tron, which was the sequel. Now, in regular Tron, you had a regular spinner, but but in Disc of Tron, it was a spinner with a push and pull mechanism. And that was a slightly different style spinner. I don't know if they're doing that in this one. You can still play Disc of Tron without it. It's not like it's a deal breaker. But overall, just the look of this cabinet, I mean, I have built my own. I did that already. But it's a beautiful looking cabinet, man. That would be a hit. I think if they put that one out, anything close to that, and the emulation is done by like Code Mystics, I think that one will sell extremely well.
And it's Wi-Fi enabled.
I think pretty much for leaderboards. I don't think, or like patches.
Right, but I'm saying
thinking Code Mystics might be involved.
All these cabinets they're showcasing Wi-Fi symbols above them. From what I briefly looked through them when you sent them, but I hope they do the purple glow on the inside, and it's not something you have to add, because I would definitely do that. But it just calls your name, and I hope the quality of the joysticks, the quality that you have with your Tron stick. Otherwise, I'm replacing it out.
And if not, we'll
be
more than happy to have you replace them.
I was just gonna say I'll replace it out, and I would actually like one of the spinners, the glowing spinners, to put in that. I would take if that other.
But I got to say, they're on the legacy cabinets, the new ones, the spinners they have are free-flowing spinner, much better than they had in the original Asteroids machine. So they're doing a better job with that. The joysticks have also gotten better. So I think you may not have to replace it. Of course, I wouldn't mind if you did. But I think by just looking at it, I think that they're going to have a really nice design cap there. And if the price is anything close to what we've been seeing, I can accept that if it's got Wi-Fi enabled, if it does have a glow in it. I mean, Tron needs to have a glow. If it doesn't glow in there, it's going to be a huge hit to that machine.
Yeah, perfect world scenario would be UV light reflective, decals inside. Cost prohibitive probably, so we'll probably just end up with LED strips inside. But either way, that's close enough in my opinion. You get that nice ambiance, you get that glow, especially if the joystick lights up as well.
Let me ask you guys something, because obviously, and I want everybody in the chat room to think about it. There's some new content creators. There's a lot of people out there that are buying these things, reviewing them, creating content with them. Who are they going to get to review these?
Well, obviously me.
I mean, yeah, Glenn's tall enough. Doug, you might get up to your ankle. But like you can see, there's even a stool for these kids with it, the bigger buttons. I'm assuming it's going to come already put together. That's the way it looks.
And look at this picture here and the one that I took with it. You can see the sides are completely different. The other one, the sides looked all plastic, which I thought would probably have been better than any wood here. I'm actually hoping this is all plastic and none of it's wood, personally.
Do we have any idea? Is this like a 7 or 8 inch screen that's on this, kind of like similar to what is on the countercades?
I mean, just logistically speaking, from a cost cutting standpoint, you would think that you would stay, in line with the SKUs and the units and the screens you already have available to you, especially with component shortages and prices going through the roof. So I would think that they would want to repurpose that already accessible screen size that they're using in other models and probably use those. But again, that's just speculation.
And I'm going to guess it's probably going to be the countercade style screen in there. It's not going to be the full.
That's kind of what it looks like. But if you look at this one with Cole standing next to it, it looks like a bigger screen.
Good.
It almost looks like the one for the Wallcade.
Yeah, but look at this and look at the side. Look at the other picture. That could have been just a photographic prototype. One of these has got to be more close to the real thing. This one looks like plastic sides. The other one looks like wood sides.
Right. But look at the size of the screen on this one, though. The size of the screen on this looks like countercade.
I'm gonna bet that's not gonna be the screen that's used. I think it's too big.
And you also have to keep in mind these things are digital mock-ups, and that's a Photoshop child.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's Cole. After Glenn threw him out.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
Well, he's taking it in stride because he's still got a smile on his face.
Because he does. This other one, I didn't know there was a Paw Patrol game, but I'm sure it'll sell for people that collect Paw Patrol and even some of the kids. There's a lot of kids that like it.
If you look at this one specifically, I mean, look at the screen size on this one. This one looks extremely small. So that kind of gives you an idea that, again, these are just digital mock-ups that somebody threw together for presentation purposes.
Wolfinos is like Arcade 1-Up for Pets is next.
Do you think those stools will go for $79?
No, they'll come with it.
Do you
They'll come
think?
bundled in there for sure. Oh, absolutely. There's no.
I'm
They're
kidding.
not going to
I'm
sell
kidding.
that separately. That little baby stool is going to come with the Arcade 1-Up Junior.
And also the pallets. Here's what the packaging could look like if it is indeed this is the final prototype, which would fall in line with what Glenn was saying, being all plastic side. That would be the safest bet, in my opinion, for a kid.
And this would make parents happy because no assembly required. Literally, just take the bottom off the packaging, plug it in, or do whatever, and it's good to go.
There's another unit that I'm going to pull up here that I've actually been screaming for since I started playing with the Arcade 1-Ups, and this Simpsons, and I'm assuming it's got Simpsons bowling on it because it's got the trackball in the middle, which would have to be replaced because I'd want it to light up blue or green. But this is a must-buy for me. I would actually, even if I ran out of room, I would sell my NBA Jam cabinet for this, because this to me is worth more than the NBA Jam cabinet. I'm not an NBA Jam huge fan.
It's been probably the most requested machine from Arcade 1-Up, is that machine right there. So
Dylan's saying $600 for Simpsons is insane, but you know what? For that machine, I would pay $600. I probably sound like a tool, but I mean that's honestly the truth for that machine.
Yeah, but I mean also those prices. I'm assuming, again, this is just assumption, speculation type of thing. A lot of the prices listed they were found online that were starting to creep up in that $600 range. Number one, I fully anticipate them to come with a riser, a light up marquee, a stool, some silly light up deck protector, probably Wi-Fi capabilities. So you've got added bundles there. Plus, again, cost of components have went up, and unfortunately, most of these businesses are forced to pass that increased cost onto the consumer. A shipping container right now, average price is going from $4,000 to $5,000. So,
all right,
a lot of companies are not willing to eat that, in their bottom line. They got to, incorporate and build that into their price structure. And if that means they have to raise the price $50, $100, then I mean, it is what it is. All you can do is either A, support the product, buy it, or B, say too rich for my blood and walk away.
Doug made a really excellent point we didn't talk about, was that the prices of wood, plastic, electronic components, everything, shipping has really gone up. In some cases doubled. So you can't really fault Arcade 1-Up or any of these manufacturers for price increases.
So
it's not their fault. It's just the way it is.
Earth Monster wants to know if there's what we need to see the actual control deck layout, and also is there a deck protector for it?
There'll be a deck protector for sure.
No, for the little baby ones.
Oh,
I think he's joking around.
Gotcha.
But I want to show something real quick before we move on from this. If you look at the riser, this Arcade 1-Up, if you're watching this show, these are how all your risers should look. This, you hit it out of the park. Get the logos off the risers. Get them off. This is, and I think the chat room would agree. Doug, Glenn, would you agree? This is the way the riser should look with the cabinet to make it look unified.
And the colors are right. I hated
how
they had the Pac-Man with yellow and then black. So this is, I agree. I totally agree. That is the way it should be done.
Yeah, I mean, perfect world scenario, I would like to see the riser cohesively blended in with the side panels of the arcade. But second to that, I like when the colors line up on these side panels. They've done a couple of their Pac-Man releases where it's almost like they rotated it 90 degrees the wrong direction, where you had the front panel matches the side panel, but when you have the front panel of your riser, obviously it doesn't, cohesively go with the color scheme. So yes, please keep the cohesion of these side panels if you're going to do artwork on the bottoms or colors on the bottom of these risers.
I think even with Killer Instinct, the bottom of it was black. I seen the mock-ups of that earlier. It had logos on. Get them off. Make it just that cabinet I want to buy. I was more of a Killer Instinct fan than I was Mortal Kombat. That one I would buy, but I wanted to. I was contemplating not even putting the riser on or flipping it around so it's all black, just to make it look the way it should. And the people in the chat are saying the same thing. They're like, they like the way it looks unified. And I think the slender at the bottom, and it gets wider when it gets to the control deck, and then it kind of straightens out. I don't know if anybody took notice of that. It's not the same as if you're looking at the NBA Jam cabinet, and this is a unique cabinet design. Look at how wide the base is, and then it gets narrowed back to the 17-inch screen, and then it just kind of tapers out again for the marquee. It has that like cartoonish design.
Do we know if
it's a digital...
It looks like it could be a 19-inch screen. Look at that. I mean, maybe they're not doing a 17. Maybe they're going to a 19.
Or maybe the person that designed this mock-up was just really lazy and it was a Friday afternoon job and they were trying to go home.
But like, it looks good.
Little things like that. Like, these things weren't meant for public consumption. These things were to, gauge
we're speculating
retailer
here.
interest.
Let us believe this. We're speculating.
Okay. You have to let us live a little, Doug. That's
we know they're not going to give us what we want.
I'm sorry. I'm always trying to educate and inform.
We're not saying you're wrong. We're just trying to say, this is probably the only time we're going to see the way these cabinets should be.
Yeah.
Okay. Final cabinet here, at least of what we've gotten with the leaks.
Mm-hmm.
The Miss Pac-Man, and my personal response to this is I don't know how I feel about it. I wasn't a fan of the wood grain one, and I know it's the original Pac-Man. For my collection, I already have the yellow, and I have the original blue Miss Pac-Man. What is everybody's thoughts on this? I mean, I'm
just thanking God they made a Pac-Man machine. I just need a Pac-Man.
Well, we knew that. We predicted at the beginning of the year. We said there's guaranteed to be 50 more Pac-Man machines. We already said that.
I mean, everybody had to know this was coming. It's the 40th anniversary of Miss Pac-Man this year. It's also the 40th anniversary of Galaga, so don't get shocked if you see some more Galaga. But I mean, it's you knew this was coming. Everybody was demanding Miss Pac-Man for years, and you finally got Miss Pac-Man after you got 17 versions of the original Pac-Man, including a 40th anniversary.
Doug, we wanted one version. That was it. That's all we needed.
Well, in case you missed the 16 other versions, because there's always people complaining about stuff selling out and they can't get it, here's your 20th opportunity to get a Pac-Man cabinet.
I hate to say it, but it's kind of like that with Burger Time, too, now. It's like everybody's, there's always more Burger Time. The chat room is saying the same thing. Wolfino says, what about Smash TV?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. Smash TV would have been a good one.
I think people already know this, but like, there's a reason Pac-Man gets recycled 20,000 times. It pays the bills. If you want to see all these cool light gun driving cabinets, things like that, it's because of these Pac-Man cabinets that keep selling and selling well, that keep getting released, that allows Arcade1Up to do R&D and make those things. So as much as we like to scoff and poke fun and say, oh my God, another Pac-Man, it pays the bills.
Sure. Oh, and obviously we're all in good fun here.
Mm-hmm.
But Prince Malcolm says, so is the cab going to have Simpsons Bowling, Simpsons Wrestling maybe, and even the arcade game? I would say it's a safe bet based on seeing the control deck.
There's a trackball on it.
Trackball on it. Yeah, Simpsons Bowling for sure. I mean, that's the only reason it makes
a mock-up.
Sense.
It makes sense. Yeah.
Which is good because it adds to the replayability of that cabinet, because Simpsons the arcade game is great as a beat 'em up, but you can only play through it so many times before you get bored of it.
Right.
You can go play bowling and have loads of fun. Simpsons Wrestling would require way more buttons that it's on that mock-up. Plus, it's not really a great game, honestly.
So somebody else is saying Simpsons Tapper,
which is
Deputy Van
fan-made game. So I don't know how you legally do that.
Yeah, they would have to put that on. But
if they really want to sell that cabinet, the Bart versus Space Mutants on there. Classic game.
I also saw somebody else posted earlier. I saw it on Instagram on the hashtag Arcade1Up. Somebody posted, I can't grab it real quick, but I'm sure everybody's seen it, a Turtles in Time cabinet.
Yeah, so there's another thing. Part of their UPC code leaks, so to speak, that had basically their entire menu for the rest of the year. There was a $600 Turtles in Time cabinet. It makes you go, oh, okay, they're reissuing or re-releasing the Ninja Turtles cabinet. But then that $600 price point makes you go, huh? So you can do pie in the sky wishful thinking. You can say, oh, cool, maybe we're getting Force Stools, and maybe we're getting Shredder's Revenge, the new game that hasn't came out yet that got announced. But then again, that's also very wishful thinking, because they would essentially have to upgrade their PCB hardware pretty considerable over what has already been used and what is existing in the current Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade cabinet. But for those of you that missed out on buying the Ninja Turtles cabinet, you get another opportunity. Downside is it's $600.
I don't know if I would buy it unless it had that new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle ones. I like the original look of the Turtle cabinet. It resembles the original.
Mm-hmm.
But you start getting in these 4-player games, and you running out of room, right? You got to make choices.
They take up even more space, especially when you put them side by side.
And with The Simpsons bringing that in, either I have to use that and trade it out with NBA Jam or find another place for it, which I probably could. But somebody that, say, has a lot less room, are they going to take a chance, buy the new Turtles one, and not be able to sell their old one because of the deck size? I don't know.
I mean, it's everything's up in the air. Wishful thinking. I just really hope they somehow figured out a way to put the new Shredder's game on there. If not, I already have plans to convert my existing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cabinet, connect it to a Switch, and then play that game that way.
Yeah.
Plus, it would convert my 4-player into a 2-player and save me some space. So,
I don't know. We didn't really show. Maybe we did see it, but maybe I didn't pull it up. But they said about shipping for this is not going to be, if we're lucky, right, guys? It's maybe November, December of this year for these cabinets, if all of them come to fruition, or if it's like NBA Jam, that they showed it a year before it was actually launched. We don't know that at this point. They might come out at E3 and announce 2 of all those cabinets that we've seen, and that's all you get until next year's CES. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things, like, they know at this point it's better safe than sorry as far as ETAs, especially in how volatile the shipping industry is right now. Even if you have the money to pay those exorbitant shipping container prices, still doesn't necessarily mean your stuff's going to show up when you want it on time and you're going to be able to get it out and distribute it across the entire country. So take all the ETAs you see with a grain of salt. Currently, that UPC listing that's floating around, it's showing about 5-6 items for late September release, which is kind of in line with what we've seen in years past. So I would speculate that those items are the most likely to be officially announced at E3, and then probably your feather in the cap item that isn't supposed to come out until the end Christmas time, because they always have that one big item that they say, hey, mark your calendars, this is going to be our big fall holiday item.
Let me ask you guys something. With all these cabinets released, did you take notice that they left out any kind of light gun games after coming out with Buck Hunter? And people have been screaming that they want all these different light gun games. We've seen it here in the chat room previously. Glenn, why do you think they haven't released or haven't even put anything in there? And Track and Field was another one that they talked about doing. No light gun games, no mention of it.
Well, there are still a ton of machines to come out. They have a lot of years ahead of themselves. They're doing very well. Just got to come in time. They can't release everything at once. They have their light gun game. They have some RD in there. I'm sure they will come out. Terminator 2, Judgment Day, other games along those lines. It'll come out. Just not yet. I mean, people, no matter what they would show, no matter what they showed, someone out there's going, why didn't they do this? It's just the nature of things. I'm still waiting for Scramble, Berserk, Crazy Climber, the classics, Ladybug, Venture.
And you will be waiting in that chair until the end of time for those to come.
Which is really sad, because those are really good classic games. They really are. And I'm sure the licensing fee on that has got to be very inexpensive. But they're great games.
I was about to say, at this point, I'm willing to bet the licensing fee for games like Ladybug, they will pay you to put their game in your machine.
So I think Jeff Rainwater nailed it. He said because they realize light gun games suck on a 17-inch screen. He could be onto something. They won't come out. Say that.
Maybe they're redesigning it. Maybe they're,
That's a good point.
They wanted to. Maybe they had 20-inch screens all set and done, and then the component shortage came up, and that price went through the roof, and they said, we just can't do it. We can't put it out unless it'd be an $800 machine.
And I just think because the last time when Buck Hunter came out, everybody was like, why did they pick Buck Hunter of all games? I was happy for it, but I mean, like other people, they were like, well,
It's a popular game, just like Golden Tee. People freaked out about Golden Tee. Yeah. It was an extremely popular game.
You can't please everyone. Everyone's got their different tastes, personal preferences.
No, but I would have thought they would have brought one IP with some kind of laser gun, or even Golden Tee with the bowling, like we've seen rumored at CES a year or so ago, and I
We
know
also
the
didn't get
hardware
any
came
more
out.
racing games either.
More racing game. Well, we have the one, and we have Star Wars, which is similar. You know, it's still a racing game, space, whatever.
It's a flying game.
Flying
But
game
no,
race.
That's a stretch, Steven. I don't know about that.
Yeah, we need
It
to
has
go
a
back to,
has a wheel, whatever.
to track and field.
It's got a
because you
yoke.
it over, and that one's kind of significant for multiple reasons. Because number one, very popular game.
Yes.
Number two, I know specifically the licensing for the artwork on this side of the cabinet is not something that anybody's able to get the original artwork. At least other companies that have been pursuing that have not been able to get it. So I would fully anticipate that it has some modded, different artwork on the side that isn't 100% authentic to the original. But most importantly, that's a joystick lacking game. It's all buttons. Not only is it all buttons, it was leaf buttons, leaf switches.
Leaf switch.
So that would be completely new territory for Arcade 1-Up to either A, go down, or B, ignore. Because I'll be blunt, if you put the same standard Arcade 1-Up buttons they've been using on all their machines and you try to play track and field, you're going to be in for a miserable experience. So I would 100% expect, hope, and demand they put some sort of upgraded component button-wise for that device and that unit 100%.
Well, you know what we're gonna do, Glenn.
Well, first I gotta say, Pitbull, great job, Pitbull. I saw that comment.
Oh, did you see it? I was gonna pull it up.
Great job, Pitbull.
So what we're gonna do is right now, we got to petition Glenn and his team to make these leaf switch buttons because we know Arcade 1-Up is not going to do that. Of course, I'm being facetious here.
Now,
but Glenn,
personally, I find the leaf buttons a million times better than microswitch, without a doubt. So I will consider it.
Well,
how about this? I'm gonna do what everyone else does out there. If I get 1 million likes, I'll make it happen.
Or what? How many subscribers do you want? Get it out there.
1 million
shares.
subscribers, and I will make it happen.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
No, but in all seriousness, but I think this is the time, like with Doug saying that, even if we don't get it for a year from now, track and field, we know it's coming.
Right. You do not want that with micro switches. You need leaf
Get
switches.
it.
Yeah.
Get those third-party parts out there. Glenn with his company, get it out there because even if they don't, the normal people, the people that are going to buy it off the shelf, they're not going to care if it's leaf switches or if they're micro switches. They're not going
You
to care.
say that until you try to run the 100-meter.
Listen, I get it.
And then you're just,
They're just going to sit there and go, I got to do it faster and I got to do it harder, whatever.
yeah. And they're going to punch through the control panel.
Well, it has a deck. It has a deck protector on it. I mean, come on. What do you want?
I don't know, man.
What do you
I
want?
watched Karate Kid.
When I play my Zaxxon's got leaf switches in there for the fire buttons. It is a totally better, more responsive experience than micro switches. I never understood why people liked. Now, I guess when Neo Geo came out, micro switches were a big thing. I never understood it. Leaf switches I find are much better. They tend to fail more because it's just two pieces of metal tapping each other. But I think overall it's a better gaming feeling.
Just by looking at all these, even with track and field, it's a unique game. I'm not really a big track and field person, just like I wasn't really a golf person, but I had to have Golden Tee. It's a fun game to play. I have a feeling that I'd feel the same way about track and field. I have to say, if this wave, we'll call it a wave, right? If this wave comes out, I would have to say that this is a better wave than some of the last machines came out. And we also have to bring attention to this that everybody will seem to forget because now the new shiny objects are out. What about Dragon's Lair? What about Space Ace? It's been crickets.
Was noticeable. Yeah. I mean, you can make the assumption, which a lot of people already are, is that didn't show up in the leaks and that didn't show up on the UPC listing and the retail, ETAs or anything like that. The assumption is that's going to be in-house, sold directly through Arcade 1-Up's website. That's the only thing that really makes sense unless there's a licensing hiccup or a hardware issue of, actually being able to produce the game on time and get it running and, operating as desired.
That's just my only concern because, I mean, they're announcing all these new ones. I mean, Glenn, I know you, out of all the cabinets besides Tron, I could see you probably picking up this Dragon's Lair cabinet just for the nostalgia of it.
Yeah, because it's not because I play it well, because I suck at it. But it is iconic. And, my problem, I don't know how Michael B is doing it. Michael B, the game genie, he's still squeezing machines in there. I don't know how he's a genie, I guess. He's a genie. I am literally, I haven't done a lot of videos because I can't even move in my space.
That's why you're outside of the porch.
That's why I'm out here. Exactly right. I can't move in there anymore. But I want these things. So I don't know what to do. Yeah. I really don't. But I would love to buy them. I mean, that's the one good thing about like New Wave Toys and Numbskull, because you can get the machine that looks the part and takes up a lot less space.
You got to read that, Glenn.
Oh,
yeah. Hey, I'm okay with that. Literally, if they went back and said, "Hey, we're gonna push Dragon's Lair off another year because we're gonna scrap the cell phone idea and we're gonna put an LCD scoreboard," thank God, because if you put that stupid cell phone in there, I will throw that across the goddamn state.
Now that's gonna go viral now.
Do not do that cell phone. I've said it 20 times, and if I have to say it again, I'm gonna lose my stuff.
Don't.
You know what I'll say though? At least I take my hat off to them, to at least Code Mystics thinking outside the box, trying to do something. Although I agree with Doug, it's probably not the best thing. I do still appreciate them at least thinking outside the box, because Arcade One didn't want anything, and they were like, "Well, we could kind of do this," and they threw it in there. So I still take my hat off to them for the idea.
So Michael B says, send Glenn Planamento some random chick's number and I'll release the beast.
Okay, and by the way, we're talking women, not baby chickens. I know you guys would be crazy to have a truckload of baby chickens dropped off over here. No chickens.
But you know what? Wolfenos has a good point in here, and this is the struggle that I've had as they've gone up in price, these cabinets. Sticking only 2 games in a cabinet for $500-600 is tough. So at that point,
I disagree. And I'll tell you why. And Wolfenos is a good friend of mine. I disagree because arcade machines, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. You only got 1 game back then.
But those were real cabinets.
Yeah, but we're spoiled now. We're spoiled with Raspberry Pis and emulators and stuff like that. But when you think about it, as someone who, if I didn't know about those things, and I saw a cabinet with 1 or 2 games, I would have been stoked. So you got to take it for what it is. We are spoiled today, but if you want to have that experience, John, I'll send you the money, I promise. You want that experience to walk into a room and just have these light up machines there, and the attract mode, playing the sound effects. You're not usually playing. I'm going to be honest. Most of these machines, I'm only playing the game that was originally #1 on it anyway.
Yeah.
The Asteroids machine plays Asteroids. I have other games on it. I play Asteroids. Centipede, I play Centipede. Galaga, I play Galaxian because it's a better game. But that's just me. But usually you're only playing that 1 game anyway. The other ones are nice to have. So I understand people say it's a lot of money, and it is. It is. But I don't think it's a deal killer, and it shouldn't be because there's 1 or 2 games on it, because normally you would have gotten 1 if you went out, picked up an arcade machine used and brought it home. You would have had that 1 game on it and spent probably $800-900 on that. True, it would have been a real machine, but that's my opinion.
But I think we also buy it for the artwork, right? So I think that's where some of the
I'll be honest,
it's gotta look nice.
I'm all in for the Tron cabinet. I don't really necessarily like those games.
Right, I'm not a Tron fan either.
It's more of like a glorified piece of art to me, because that cabinet, the design, the aesthetic, the lights, and everything, it's just beautiful. Dragon's Lair is pretty much kind of the same kind of thing. I've got a personal connection and affection towards Dragon's Lair. I can play Dragon's Lair, the whole trilogy, on 14 different devices in my house. Cheaper, smaller, don't take up as much space, but the cabinet design, just the whole ambiance that it gives off. And that's why I think people are A-okay spending the money. This is a perfect example of one of those things where 2 things can be simultaneously true at the same time. These new cabinets can be way too expensive, and they could also be a super steal of a deal to the same type of person. It just really depends on personal preferences and perspective.
And just remember, these are MSRP. That doesn't necessarily mean that's what they're going to be when they come out. And that also, we've seen it with NBA Jam. I was at my local Walmart the other day. You could buy for $279.
Yeah, just play the waiting game. We see every single year. There's always those seasonal clearance prices.
Just wait. Don't go. And I didn't. I still have not gone out and buying any of the Arcade 1-Up pinballs, because I am determined that they're going to drop in price. Online, I had a couple chances. I'm determined that it's going to be $399 at some point when the new wave comes out, and I will get that Star Wars pinball. But I'm not paying $500 for 10 games when I can get the Legends pinball, which I have, for $100 more. It just makes
I wouldn't pay
no
that
sense.
money for Kathleen Kennedy artwork and have that pinball machine anyway.
Well,
so,
okay.
ha-ha!
But if you guys remember when we started the show a little over a year ago, actually it was a lot longer than a year ago.
Where you been?
I know it's been a long week. We talked about this where we said we'd be okay paying more for these arcade one-ups. Give us the lighted marquee, give us the decorated risers. Yeah, give us the bells and whistles. And now that they've given us the bells and whistles, everybody's like, "Oh, well, that's costing too much.
You can't do
too
that
much
way.
money."
You know, you can't. And again, Doug said it before. Cost everything's up regardless. So I'm actually surprised they're still keeping it relatively around the ballpark where they've been selling these machines before, because wood and everything has really gone up quite a bit. But he's right. We've also been saying we would pay more for better quality stuff, and they're starting to say, okay, let's give them what they want. And now we're bitching and moaning. I don't want to spend the money.
Yeah, and they did. Well, I say they. The internet. Let's put it that way. The internet also did provide some new information on a completely left field product that no one had really known about or thought about. A Projectorcade.
A Projectorcade.
Yeah, I made those for years. Actually 2018 was the very first Projectorcade, which I did with my Coleco Minicade, and I did it in the Legends Connect. So I copyrighted that name. Projectorcade is my name.
Well, speaking of copyright, Arcade 1UP did patent a Projectorcade earlier. I think it was November 2020, and then lo and behold, as part of this entire MSRP UPC listing leak kind of retailer type of thing, a Pac-Man Projectorcade was on that listing with a speculative ETA of November of this year. And last time I looked at the shipping manifesto, they actually did get one on the 19th of May in the customs port. So whether that be more than one or just one for demonstration purposes, or E3 revelations, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, we're going to get some sort of projector arcade, obviously, again, going back to Pac-Man because it's tried and true, it's recognizable and it sells.
Pac-Man.
I don't know what it is. I'm very curious because number one, I've got a home theater and I've got a projected screen right behind me. But number two is like, is it a two-piece thing? Is it a mini projector with a little USB thing and a controller, like a little plug-and-play system?
I'm thinking more along the lines, it could be like a Pandora's box type of joystick with the projector built in. Because I mean, I did. I built a few of these already in handhelds, and I think it's a great idea. And Arcade 1UP can start sending me commissions for using my technology. It's all good.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting because, like, if it's all one device, obviously it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to try to play a game with a moving screen because that screen will naturally move as you're shifting the joystick. So I would assume it's separate devices, but again, that's just assumption based on logistics.
What do you?
Yeah, see, I don't know. Two piece, I get your point, but then why not just get a regular projector and plug it into your Pong console at home? I would think it'd probably be more of a single type of unit that's portable you could take along with you. But again, Doug and I are both speculating. I guess I'm the devil, he's the angel. Both shoulders on Steven. I don't know.
I'm just the guy in the middle here.
Yep.
I'd be interested because I'll be honest, I've never played a Projectorcade, so I don't really have much input on this. So I'm interested to see what it is and what it looks like.
The bigger thing is that the projectors I've used in my builds, they're usually the laser or LED, and they're kind of expensive. I mean, I got them on sale once in a while, but if you use too low quality projectors, it's not going to be bright enough in the rooms. It's going to be all washed out. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how Arcade 1UP pulls it off, where the price point is going to be at a point where you're going to spend $300-$400 for one of these machines that has one or two games on it, people. Pac-Man, Pac-Man Plus, something like that. That's tied, unless it's going to be upgradable, unless they're going to allow you to do DLC to this device to have more games come on it versus the one or two.
And Wolf's like, sorry, I don't shill for any companies. I go with my heart and my wallet and what's the value. And we're
that's
not.
what you should do.
Yeah, we're absolutely not either.
That's the thing. Like, if you don't like it, don't buy it.
Don't buy it. Right. Yeah.
Like, don't support things that you don't like. Simple as that.
Right.
Yeah.
If you think the stuff is too expensive,
know.
exactly.
Yeah.
But here it is. Like, people are complaining and moaning on the internet about the legacy cabinets having all these issues. Guess what's selling out left and right? The legacy cabinets. So like, if you want change and you want to force change, vote with your wallet.
Right. Well, exactly.
That's it.
And we're not lined up. They're not sending us cabinets out, out the door. We're in the same boat everybody else is, with that. So let me pull this up here before we got to wind down here in about a couple minutes here. Doug provided me here with this link here where we talked earlier about the potential release dates, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll pull this up here on the chart here. The Capcom Legacy Stool, looking at 12/31/2021. If you go down the list here on the column here, the first column, if you guys are seeing this, the Projectorcade with Pac-Man deck, you're looking at the end of November. If all stars align and everything falls into place, we're looking at...
We also got some unannounced things, like some more cocktail cabinets, head-to-head cabinets. So we got like a Mortal Kombat one,
Infinity
Marvel
table,
Capcom,
32
inch, yeah. So bigger version of that. Just all sorts of new stuff that wasn't known.
I still am
interested
interested in that if they lower the price.
Do we know anyone who has one?
I don't think the 32-inch one has come out yet. I think
No,
the
it's
24-inch is what they did for the early Kickstarters.
I want a 32-inch if I'm going to do it in the living room or something like that.
That's what she said.
I want more room on around it instead of cramming in on. So, because I have an iPad Pro, so if you essentially just double that, that's how big the screen is going to be.
I am
on there.
so sorry to hear that.
Well, no, we want stuff that works. So, 32-inch.
There's a couple of noticeable omissions though, because if you guys remember back to the previous CES, we still haven't seen those micro consoles or Coleco arcade cabinets or anything.
No, it's weird, Doug.
Nothing.
No, it's weird when you said that. That I did see from Super Impulse. It's kind of weird.
Yeah,
a tiny Atari that was very similar to an arcade one. Very
almost
similar, didn't it?
Identical, right? So it's almost like maybe they handed that off to somebody else or sold that to somebody else. We also didn't get a new pinball machine. We were all speculating and assuming that universal pinball machine was going to come out.
Right.
No listing or names on that one. So who knows? Everything's still up in the air. Maybe they come and still surprise everybody at E3. Maybe everything that they were going to reveal has already been revealed, and unfortunately all the kids know their Christmas presents, but it is what it is.
And I'll tell you what, though, I'd be buying those mini consoles up left and right. I'd buy everyone.
Absolutely.
That's why they haven't.
I agree.
That's why they haven't brought it out for you.
They can't get enough shippers on the water for Glenn's usage.
And I will tell you before we got to wrap up, guys, just shifting gears here a little bit, talking about pinball, the new Zaccaria tables, the deluxe tables.
Yeah.
I have to say, they're probably the best tables so far, in my opinion, and that's only because I do like the animations and things like that. It's just, I like the old stuff too. Don't get me wrong, I do, but I don't know, Doug. They just kind of hit home. They play nice.
I enjoy them. They're fun. My only critique is that some of them are very busy.
I agree.
Very layered. Lots of. I think one table has like 9 or 12 flippers or something.
What is that? That's the one with the king on it? The what is it?
House of Cards.
House of Cards. That one's kind of busy. The other thing with that, I wish, and I've already mentioned this to AtGames, they got to do better organizing the catalog. I'd like them to
at this point, when we've got 130.
Yeah, because you got to hunt through them. Like if somebody comes over and you're like, "Hey, you need to play these new deluxe tables," and there's one on every page, it's hard. Like I'd like to see them categorize it in volumes, maybe.
Yeah, just give me Gottlieb menu, Zaccaria menu with submenus,
and deluxe menu,
remake, retro, whatever, and bada bing, you're good.
Right. So there has to be a little bit better way, and again, back to hiding the menu. I don't want to. For those of us that don't want to play arcade games on it, give us a way to hide that. That would be really huge. But if you're on the fence about buying, I think Doug and I both agree it's worth the $50. Buy those tables. There's going to be more cool tables coming. So as more tables come out, they got to do something about organization. But I wanted to get that in last minute because that was something else that was this way. Anything else I'm missing, Glenn? Anything else that come up on your radar this week before we sign off for the evening?
I don't think so. Other than, make sure you guys subscribe to Rexer, subscribe to Kongs, Super Game Room dudes. Just chill for those guys. They pay me a little bit,
Do you get all the contracts here? What is the deal?
I'm a whore. I'm an internet whore. It's plain and simple.
Yeah, Spooky. Well, I love Spooky. That's a good game on there.
Limited Run Games announced I think it was today that the pre-orders went up, so you can get the Mega Man Wily Wars. So it's the first official U.S. release for the Sega Genesis. You could get it on the Sega Genesis Mini console, and that was the first time you could technically play it in the U.S. officially. But if you want an actual physical cartridge for the Mega Man Wily Wars game, you can get that on Limited Run Games right now. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, they sell out quick too, so don't wait.
Retro Mania.
Yes.
Why is limited? What is Limited Run doing? I'm still, and I'm still waiting for my poster from Retromania. They still haven't sent it to me.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
maybe out of luck on that one.
Mr. Mike Herman, you said you were going to send me one. Where is it?
Actually, I think Mike told me he was going to nix yours and send yours to me.
Oh, he might have. He might have. He might have done that because I was going to get it. I was going to have Glenn send me his, and then I was going to get it autographed by Stevie Richards and
Hollywood Nova.
Hollywood Nova at the thing, and Doug, you could do the same thing, and I'll send it back to you. I'll get it. I'll get Stevie to sign it. Take a picture of him, sign it.
Gotta have a poster to do it though.
Mike,
I want the Super Game Room dudes to sign it.
Send it. Why?
They're in the game, man. I want the autograph.
Oh. Sorry, I missed that part. Yeah. That actually would be cool. Get everybody to sign it that's on there and then frame it, put it in your game room.
All the guys.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys.
I'm the internet whore, man. That's why I'm the whore.
Final question, since the topic of the night was the leaks.
Go ahead.
Glenn, if you had to choose one of all these leaks, whether it be the ones that are pictured or the ones that are not pictured, what one has you most excited / saying, hey, here's my credit card?
Wait a second. You're turning that question on him that everybody asks you all the time.
Well, it's going to go to you next. I'm giving you time to prepare since you weren't exactly thrilled.
Okay.
Well, unlike Doug, I will answer those kind of questions. I think by far, to me, it's like ×2 Tron. Now, without a question, that machine right there, especially if they do the backlighting in some way or a glow effect. If they do that, I swear to God, I'll find room.
That says a lot for you.
It does, because I'm a cheap
motherfucker. I meant it's for you. It's a surprise because you don't have a lot of room with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. But that cabinet is one again that's been asked, like the Simpsons cabinet. I mean, I know a lot of people like it, but for me, like Doug says, once you play through the Simpsons once, it's kind of you played it.
Mm-hmm.
Tron, for me, when I was growing up in 1982, the movie was like Star Wars. It was something you didn't see before. So to me, it has a huge nostalgia value in there. And that would be a total purchase without a problem.
I guess that
I stunned you all. It's dead silent.
No, I guess that puts.
I mean, that was the answer. I